A 7-second Met Gala clip just turned into one of the weirdest celebrity conversations of the year. At first, people thought it was simple. Tyla saw Rihanna standing just a few feet away and didn't go over to speak to her. Rihanna didn't approach her either. No interaction, no greeting, nothing. Then the internet did what it always does. Suddenly, people were zooming into body language, analyzing facial expressions, slowing clips down frame by frame, like they were FBI agents trying to decode a crime scene. And within hours, the entire narrative had already been written. Rihanna ignored Tyla. Rihanna was being cold. Rihanna didn't respect her. But then Tyla woke up the next morning, grabbed her phone from bed, looked completely exhausted, and admitted something nobody expected. She wasn't avoiding Rihanna, she was nervous. And not just nervous in a casual way. The kind of nervous where you replay an awkward interaction in your head for an entire year and convince yourself not to risk going through it again. And that alone already made the situation uncomfortable enough. But then Rihanna posted an Ayra Starr song. And that's when this stopped being a random awkward celebrity moment and became a full-blown internet war involving South Africa, Nigeria, Afrobeats, Amapiano, favoritism accusations, fan conspiracies, and people trying to figure out whether Rihanna was quietly sending a message without saying a single word. And honestly, the deeper you go into the story, the less it feels like drama. And the more it feels like the internet accidentally exposed how celebrity hierarchy actually works behind the scenes. Because the real tension here was never Tyla versus Rihanna. It was validation. It was approval. It was what happens when one of the biggest young stars in the world still feels like an anxious fan around the person she idolizes most. And once you see it that way, the entire situation becomes way more uncomfortable than people realized. The whole thing started at the 2026 Met Gala. Same iconic stairs, same chaos, same cameras everywhere. Everybody dressed like they're entering a billion-dollar fashion arena instead of a party. And this year especially, people were waiting for one specific interaction: Tyla and Rihanna. For months, fans had been hyping up the possibility of seeing them together properly. Not just a quick backstage hello. People wanted the moment, the photo, the passing of the torch energy. One generation of global black female stardom meeting the next. And visually, it should have been perfect. Tyla has exploded over the last few years in a way almost nobody predicted. Grammy win, global records, massive crossover success, fashion world obsessed with her, brands chasing her. She went from South African breakout artist to worldwide phenomenon ridiculously fast. And Rihanna? Rihanna isn't just a superstar anymore. She's basically cultural royalty at this point. People don't even treat her like a normal celebrity. She walks into rooms and the entire atmosphere changes. Everybody watches her. Everybody adjusts around her. So when fans realized they were both in the same area at the gala, expectations went through the roof. Then the clip dropped. Tyla standing against a wall. Rihanna nearby talking to people. Moving around, completely in her zone. Cameras everywhere, chaos everywhere. And somehow, nothing happened between them. No hug, no excited interaction. No viral sisterhood moment. Not even eye contact people could clearly identify. Just distance. And instantly, social media decided that distance meant something deeper. Because that's how celebrity culture works now. Silence is never just silence anymore. A lack of interaction becomes evidence. People start filling in emotional blanks that might not even exist. Then more footage started appearing. One clip showed Rihanna reacting while A.I.P. Rocky was talking with people nearby, including Tyla. Another showed Rihanna and Rocky inside their Sprinter van afterward, looking serious and exhausted. And the internet stitched everything together into one giant conspiracy thread. Rihanna was avoiding her. She doesn't rate Tyla. She sees her as competition. She's protecting her throne. People were acting like they had access to Rihanna's internal thoughts based on 4 seconds of camera footage and a tired facial expression in a van after a 6-hour event. But here's where the story actually gets interesting. because the reason Tyla looked frozen in that hallway had nothing to do with arrogance or tension or secret beef. It started a year earlier, at the 2025 Met Gala. And once people remembered what happened there, suddenly Tyla's behavior made a lot more sense. The first time Tyla ever met Rihanna, she actually approached her directly. No hesitation, no fear. She went up to say hello, and according to Tyla herself, Rihanna responded politely at first. She said hey back, but then almost immediately said something like, "My baby daddy is calling me," and walked off because Rocky needed her attention. That was it. That was the entire interaction. Now, objectively, that doesn't sound horrible. Rihanna was busy. The Met Gala is chaos. Thousands of people trying to pull celebrities in different directions at once. Nobody with common sense thinks Rihanna committed some evil act there. Even Tyla herself repeatedly clarified that Rihanna wasn't rude. She said Rihanna seemed occupied, distracted, busy. She understood the situation, but emotionally, that moment clearly stayed with her way longer than people realized. Because awkward celebrity interactions hit differently when it's somebody you genuinely admire, especially when that person shaped your entire idea of stardom growing up. And that's the part people online ignored. Tyla may be a Grammy-winning global artist now, but around Rihanna, she still sounded like a nervous fan trying not to embarrass herself. That changes everything. People forget fame doesn't erase insecurity. Sometimes it actually magnifies it, especially around people higher in the social hierarchy of the industry. And whether fans want to admit it or not, Rihanna sits very high in that hierarchy. You can see it in the way celebrities act around her. There's always this strange mixture of admiration, intimidation, and caution. Even famous people suddenly look unsure of themselves around her. So fast forward to the 2026 Met Gala. Tyla sees Rihanna again. Same type of event, same pressure, same cameras, same chaotic environment. And instead of risking another interaction that might end abruptly or feel awkward, she freezes. Not because she hates Rihanna, because she overthought it. You can literally hear it in the way she explained herself afterward. She admitted she didn't approach Rihanna because she remembered the previous interaction and assumed Rihanna was probably busy again. She didn't want to interrupt, didn't want to force a moment, didn't want to risk another uncomfortable exchange in front of cameras and thousands of people online waiting to dissect it. And honestly, that's painfully human. The internet treats celebrities like emotionally indestructible robots, but what Tyla described is something almost everyone has experienced at some point. Trying to speak to someone you admire, overthinking it, then convincing yourself not to. Except in her case, the entire world was watching. And that's what made her TikTok hit so differently the next morning. Because instead of giving some polished PR response through a magazine quote or management statement, Tyla literally filmed herself half awake in bed, looking emotionally drained. No glam team, no media training energy, no fake confidence, just raw honesty. She started the video basically saying she looked crazy because she had just woken up. Her voice sounded raspy. She looked exhausted from the entire situation already. And then she explained everything. The first meeting, the awkwardness, the anxiety, why she didn't go over this year, but the moment that really changed public perception was one specific line. If we do end up speaking ever, that wording stopped people immediately. Because that's not how somebody talks when they feel secure in a relationship. That's the language of someone who genuinely doesn't know whether their idol likes them or not. Not anger, not bitterness, just uncertainty. And suddenly the entire internet split into two sides. One group thought the video was incredibly relatable and mature. They said Tyla handled the situation gracefully. That she was honest instead of pretending not to care. That she respected Rihanna's space. But another group thought posting the video publicly was a terrible idea. Because now the awkwardness became permanent. People started saying things like, "Why would you tell the internet this?" Or, "Now every future interaction between them is going to feel even weirder." And honestly, they weren't completely wrong either. Because once millions of people start emotionally investing in a celebrity relationship dynamic, it becomes impossible for those celebrities to interact normally afterward. Every future hello suddenly carries narrative weight. And right when the conversation finally started calming down a little, Rihanna posted something that completely reignited the fire. An Ayra Starr song. That's all it took. One post, one song choice, one tiny action from Rihanna, and the internet exploded again. Because suddenly fans weren't just thinking about Tyla anymore. They started comparing Rihanna's relationship with Ayra Starr, and that comparison became very uncomfortable very fast. People began pulling up old clips and interviews showing how differently Rihanna interacted with Ayra over the past few years. And once those examples started circulating, fans couldn't unsee the contrast. Because Rihanna and Ayra Starr don't just have random passing interactions, they actually seem close. Back in 2024, Ayra attended the Fenty X Puma launch event in London, where she met Rihanna properly. And unlike Tyla's rushed Met Gala interaction, this one apparently turned into real conversation, real mentorship energy, real attention. Rihanna reportedly gave Ayra specific advice about her voice and confidence. Ayra later revealed Rihanna told her she had the kind of voice that could appeal to both men and women globally. That meant a lot because Ayra had openly struggled with confidence issues and self-image behind the scenes. Then they met again and again. Barbados, Crop Over Festival, more private interactions. Rihanna watching Ayra's music videos with her, pointing out favorite moments, discussing her artistry. That's not random celebrity politeness anymore. That's investment. Then things escalated further when Ayra Starr officially became connected to Roc Nation, the same management empire closely tied to Rihanna and Jay-Z. And suddenly fans started seeing a very clear difference between how Rihanna interacts with Ayra versus how she interacts with Tyla. Now, to be fair, none of this automatically means Rihanna dislikes Tyla. That's the dangerous leap people online keep making. Human relationships are uneven. Chemistry is uneven. Timing matters. Personality compatibility matters. Shared environments matter. Sometimes one connection develops naturally while another stays surface level. That's normal. But internet culture doesn't handle nuance very well. People immediately translated that difference into ranking. Rihanna respects Ayra more. She sees more potential in Ayra. She connects with Nigerian artists more. She intentionally distanced herself from Tyla. And once those theories entered the conversation, things spiraled into something way bigger than celebrity gossip. Suddenly it became South Africa versus Nigeria, Amapiano versus Afrobeats, Tyla versus Ayra Starr, and the craziest part? Neither Tyla nor Ayra actually seemed interested in fighting each other at all. Both artists have repeatedly shut down tension rumors before. Both have publicly shown support toward each other. But fandoms don't care, because fandoms thrive on competition, especially when two artists occupy similar spaces culturally. Young African women dominating globally at the same time. Similar audiences, similar fashion spaces, similar internet demographics. Fans naturally start treating success like a scoreboard. And once Rihanna's name entered the equation, people started acting like she was some kind of judge deciding who represented the future of African music internationally. Twitter completely lost its mind. Some people accused Rihanna of giving mean girl energy. Others defended her aggressively, saying she doesn't owe anyone emotional access. Some accused Tyla fans of victimizing her unnecessarily. Others accused Rihanna fans of gaslighting obvious awkwardness. Meanwhile, Rihanna herself stayed completely silent the entire time. And weirdly, that silence might have intensified everything more than an actual statement would have. Because Rihanna has one of the most unreadable celebrity personas in the industry. People project onto her constantly. Some see confidence, others see coldness. Some see mystery, others see emotional distance. And the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Rihanna has always moved selectively. She's never been the type to overperform warmth publicly for everybody around her. She's not one of those celebrities constantly trying to reassure the internet emotionally. That's part of why people find her fascinating in the first place. But it also creates situations like this, where younger artists genuinely don't know how they stand with her. And honestly, that might be the real heart of this entire story. Not beef, not jealousy, not secret hatred, just asymmetrical emotional investment. Tyla clearly admires Rihanna deeply, probably more than Rihanna even realizes. But Rihanna likely sees Tyla through a completely different lens, one among many rising artists constantly entering her orbit. That imbalance changes how interactions feel. For Tyla, a 5-second awkward moment becomes unforgettable. For Rihanna, it may have barely registered at all, and that's what makes the situation strangely sad. Because underneath all the fan wars and conspiracy theories, the story is really about somebody becoming wildly successful and still feeling emotionally small around the person who inspired them, which is honestly more relatable than people want to admit. You can achieve incredible things and still freeze around someone whose approval matters to you. You can become globally famous and still overanalyze one awkward interaction for an entire year. You can win Grammys and still sound uncertain, saying, "If we ever end up speaking." That's what made Tyla's TikTok resonate so hard. Not because people believed there was secret drama, but because vulnerability is rare in celebrity culture now. Especially vulnerability that isn't polished into a PR strategy. And maybe that's why this entire situation exploded the way it did. Because people weren't really reacting to Rihanna, they were reacting to the feeling of wanting acceptance from someone who seems emotionally unreachable. And Rihanna, intentionally or not, represents that unreachable energy perfectly. At the end of the day, we actually know very little. We know Tyla approached Rihanna once in 2025. And the interaction ended quickly because Rihanna was busy. We know Tyla overthought it afterward. We know she hesitated in 2026 because she didn't want another awkward moment. We know Rihanna later posted an Ayra Starr song. Everything else? Projection, interpretation, fan fiction with expensive outfits? But if there's one thing this entire story accidentally revealed, it's that celebrity culture runs heavily on perceived validation. Who gets access? Who gets warmth? Who gets remembered? Who gets mentorship? Who gets reposted? Fans notice all of it, and once people start comparing those dynamics publicly, even the smallest interaction suddenly becomes loaded with meaning. The wildest part is that Tyla probably never intended any of this to become drama in the first place. She sounded less like somebody exposing Rihanna, and more like somebody trying to explain why she got nervous. That's it. But the internet doesn't do small emotional moments anymore. Everything gets inflated into teams, narratives, wars, and hidden agendas. So now one awkward Met Gala interaction has somehow turned into a months-long conversation about favoritism, hierarchy, African music politics, celebrity energy, and whether Rihanna secretly chooses favorites behind the scenes. And maybe the most ironic part of all? The entire situation might disappear instantly the moment Rihanna and Tyla finally have one normal conversation. No cameras, no fan edits, no Twitter threads, no viral think pieces. Just two artists talking casually for 5 minutes without the internet turning it into a psychological case study. Because beneath all the chaos, Tyla never sounded angry. She sounded hopeful, like somebody still waiting for a better second impression, or maybe a proper first one.